Let's start with Michael Onwenu, who, look, he signed an extension this offseason. He represented himself, which I know we can both appreciate as people who have represented ourselves throughout our career. This guy gets an extension, but he had some interesting quotes here, George. I want to read to you. Throughout the whole process, we spoke about me playing tackle. And even after I signed, that was still the same thing. So under my notion, I'm still playing right tackle. George, who's on left? Who's on first? Who's playing left tackle here? So there's still some question marks there, right?
Yeah, for sure. And this is Michael Onwenu, a guy that started at right tackle, right guard, left guard, and even the tackle-eligible tight end spot over his career. But last year, when they had a turnstile all across the offensive line, with Trent Brown checking in and out on the team of wanting to show up and play, Michael Onwenu even going down to certain points, and to begin the year, him at right guard, having Vidarian Lowe at right tackle or Calvin Anderson, he shined through in his 11 starts. Looking at those numbers from last year, 11 starts for Michael Onwenu, 3 sacks allowed, 1 QB hit in 11 games. Vidarian Lowe, Calvin Anderson, in 6 games, 5 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Right. It was no shock to anybody. We've seen it throughout his career. Michael Onwenu is their best right tackle since he's been drafted, and he's been great at right guard too. But it's the money they gave him. You talked about representing himself. 3 years, $57 million, with $36.5 million guaranteed. That's top 10 money at right tackle or left tackle.
That's right.
So you're playing him to be a bookend guy either side of the line. But you mentioned the quote. He said, it wasn't spoken to me. He's going into this season like, I'm playing right tackle, I'm pretty sure. I haven't heard otherwise. He said this too, and this is what jumped to me. This year, I wouldn't say no for playing left tackle. Yeah. Definitely with practice and trying it out, I definitely think I could. That says to me he hasn't been practicing to do it yet, even though he's in the building, working out, they're beginning their OTAs. He's going to be their right tackle. Like you said, it's a question of who is their left tackle. Now, if their plan was Michael Onwenu to be their left tackle, well, you'd want him practicing those moments, those movements, those motions,
you would have
those
said that from the onset too, right?
Exactly. You go to him, hey, Mike, you've been great at right tackle the last few years. We love you there. But when you go home, this is an exit interview thing. When you go home, start practicing being a left tackle, all those different movements with your trainer. Start working that. So when you're in the building, we'll start working with you. And we'll have our offensive line, our new O-line coach, our new offensive coordinator start working you with this. It sounds like Michael Onwenu would be at right tackle, because if you wanted him to make the switch to left, you would want him doing so already. And the reason I pointed out his versatility, that's the value Onwenu has brought to Foxboro. But playing left or right guard, that's pretty easy to do, given for the guys that can pull it off. Right. Because either way, when you're pulling, you're going left to right. Your stance is the same in a 3-point stance. That's a lot of those movements, you have to go left and right at that spot. But if you're a left tackle or a right tackle, your first step is the same every time. Your stance, whether it's pass pro or run blocking, is the same every time. Right. And all the motions you go through is done one way. To flip to the other side with that muscle memory, that's really hard. Yeah. Now you're saying who's going to be the left tackle. I think it's Caden Wallace, the kid they just drafted out of Penn State. It's going to be, but that's going to have to be a switch too. 24 years old.
You didn't love that pick.
I didn't love the pick because you need a left tackle. But 24 years old, 40 career starts at right tackle at Penn State. But Elliot Wolf, when we're talking quotes here, when he was asked, we feel like Caden has the athleticism to play over on the left side. Really, Olufashinu, who's the 11th overall pick, went to the Jets, is a reason he played right tackle. Yeah, Caden Wallace came in. That's a guy, in high school, played either side, whatever he did. But yeah, Olufashinu was a first-team All-American, the second-best offensive lineman in this draft. He'll push you to the right side. But still, Caden Wallace, 24 years old, 40 career starts at right tackle. You say he's athletic enough to play left tackle. Yeah. But does he have it down? Because you need someone week one to be a solid left tackle. And it's not Chuck Okorafor either, who's the vet they signed in the offseason.
Well, this is where I lean on you, because I call you jokingly and lovingly Mel Kiper Jr., because you evaluate all these drafts. And I say that because I wonder how long this has been going on. Back in the day, you would draft these guys specifically. You're a right tackle. You're a left tackle. Yeah. You're a right guard. You're a left guard. You're a center, right? They played that in college. If they did play a different position, it was in an emergency situation only. You were drafted, brought in, groomed, developed to play that position. My question to you is, which draft did it switch over? How many years has this been happening? Because what I noticed in recent drafts, in my memory, it's all about versatility now. These teams bring you in now. Many of these kids, not just college, George, I mean growing up, period, through all these football camps and circuits that you got going on in academies, they play all these positions to begin with. And so when you get to college, they move you around all around the line anyways, or shuffling and moving these guys around in college. And then naturally that comes into the league via the draft. You can only draft as an NFL team what college football gives you. And we saw this as well with spread quarterbacks. Remember, for the longest time, it was always these traditional pocket guys. Well, that's what college football was giving you for a long time. Then the spread came, and Chip Kelly and all the rest, and you started getting all these hybrid quarterbacks. And now, look, I mean, damn near, really, your traditional pocket passer, your Jacoby Brissett, guys that can't move and just stand in the pocket and throw, are pretty much extinct, right? Or endangered species, at least. So I just look at this as, don't all these guys move around and shift?
But you're talking guys that could play guard or tackle. And I'm saying that, like Troy Faltanu, that's a guy that comes in with versatility. Like, that's where he fits, where he landed. Going to the Steelers is great. I mean, he could even play center, but then they got Zach Frazier, the center out of West Virginia.
Right.
But I bring up names like that because that's a guy that you could say he could play guard or tackle for us, but not left or right tackle. You talk about versatility. Penei Sewell just got the bag to be the right tackle for the Detroit Lions. When he was first drafted, they had him on the left side, and he struggled. And this was a guy that was a blue chip prospect, #1 overall pick. You need a good tackle. You take Sewell.
Yeah.
He became this type of guy when they moved him to the right side. His natural position, the position he played at Oregon in college.
Right.
So that's a difference. There's Jackson Powers Johnson, again, a guy out of Oregon. That's someone that could play center, guard, and tackle. That's why his versatility is coveted. But when it comes to right or left tackle, that's so much harder to ask. Think about how elite these edge rushers are, these defensive linemen. Just, they are some of the best athletes on the field, and they're coming at you, and they know where they're going. You have to guess where they're going. You have to mirror them. You're used to doing it one way. You have to learn to do everything the opposite way. If you're a quarterback, you're used to doing everything with your right hand, rolling out to your right, whatever it may be. Now you're learning how to do it with your left. That's what they're asking these offensive tackles to do, and that's where I hold my breath with this whole situation. You could have versatility when it comes to position, but when it comes to either side for a tackle, that's a whole different monster. Look at the defensive linemen taken. They're guys that you get a D lineman, good pass rusher, good in the run game, but where can you line them up all over? That's what's coveted in the NFL.
Yeah.
But for offensive tackle, it's so difficult. That's the thing.
Well, listen, I learned something about myself in this segment, to be honest, George. Maybe I'm naive, because I got to tell you something. I give props to the kid for negotiating his own deal. He got the bag. But for that kind of cabbage, right, if I'm the Patriots, I'm like, listen, you play wherever the hell we need you. He's already proven he can do it. So,
but never at left tackle. He's played right and guards.
I'm saying wherever we have a hole, right, on that line, because that line was atrocious last season. Wherever we have a hole, you've already proven you can do it. It's one of the reasons we made the investment in you. So just play it.
But he is their best right tackle on their roster. And this is where I fall off with what Elliott Wolf did. And that's why I didn't like that Caden Wallace pick at all, because you needed a left tackle. And this can even go back to the Jalen Polk pick. You traded back from 34 to 37. You took Jalen Polk. But when it came to taking Caden Wallace, when you did, 5 picks before that, Kingsley Suamataia was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs.
They
and he
took
was a
him
left
too
tackle.
soon?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, because, look, and then you got Javon Baker later. You need to walk away with 2 pass catchers.
Right.
But when you drafted Polk, maybe you could keep trading back, accruing more picks, and get back into the second, get Polk.
Yeah.
But more importantly, Kingsley Suamataia, who is a left tackle, was staring you in the face. That's where you need a left tackle, draft a left tackle.
Right.
You need a left tackle, don't draft a right tackle. Just go with what you need. It's the same thing of you need a running back, draft a running back. Don't draft that athletic quarterback and see if he's going to work at running back. Like that's where it really missed me on this whole draft approach. And you know me, you know where I'm from. Caden Wallace is from New Jersey.
Yes.
You'd think I would be singing to the heavens they bring in a guy from New Jersey.
Right.
Jabril Peppers, I knew they got a dog when they signed him in free agency
You
because
called it.
he comes from New Jersey.
You called it.
Playing at Don Bosco, Patterson Catholic, Paramus Catholic, excuse me. But I'm going with that and mentioning the Jersey reference. I will cape for anybody from New Jersey to no ends. But it's tough for me to do it for Caden Wallace. As a right tackle, sure, I like that. It's a depth piece.
Yeah.
But as a left tackle, I don't see it. And let's say they want to go Chuck Okorafor. 26 years old, 6 years in the NFL, over 3,900 career snaps at right tackle, two. I'm saying just 2 at left tackle he's taken. You're taking an old dog trying to teach him new tricks, but here's the thing. You have a gaping hole at left tackle.
Yep.
If they still had Trent Brown, who's like, he's good when he's playing, but his commitment is questionable, and that's putting it lightly, and you add these 2 guys where you could ease them in, I'm fine, and you could develop them to a left tackle, but you need someone there week 1. And what's important is you need to protect Jacoby Brissett, to me, who will be the starter week 1.
Can't move.
But let's say you put in Drake Maye. Let's say you love what you see and he's ready to play. You're going to get him killed there with Chuck Okorafor or Caden Wallace at left tackle.
Right.